Dr. Gallous. A very, very good morning to you. And I think I am as shocked as the rest of South Africa, probably even as shocked as you are, regarding Jacob Zuma's move. Which, of course, is about the growing divergence within South African politics regarding Western Sahara and the broader continental alliance. And this really speaks about Jacob Zuma having gone across to Morocco. And he says he and his party recognizes Morocco's claim over Western Sahara, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's start off by unpacking what exactly is that situation, the Sahel region and Morocco's claim to that region. And then we'll look at this latest statement by Jacob Zuma and how damaging it might be for the region in question. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Julie. Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers of Sadame Media. I'm glad to be back again once more and also to see that Sadame Media is actually going higher and is doing the work that, human beings with conscience are supposed to do.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's look at this latest move now by Zuma. First, let's put the situation into context, the situation regarding Morocco's claim to the Sahel region, and then talk about Jacob Zuma's statement, the MK party recognizing Morocco's claim to that region and how that will upset the regional politics in the Sahel region and Morocco.
Julie, to be honest, some of us who have been following this situation closer, nothing actually is surprising to us. Um, to look into the question of Western Sahara, which is purely one of legality versus political reality, looking at it in an isolation will not do so much justice. We have to look at it in its global context and impact. We narrow down to at the regional level to see, as you mentioned, some of the impact that this may create. We all know that global politics, for a while now, it had shifted from ideology to ideas, and now it is based on opinions. And opinions are tradable. That's why we have, even though at the level of the White House, we have a transactional leader, whom individuals like Jacob Zuma could, proceed with such declaration, with such boldness. But this does not surprise us, as mentioned, because remember, there is always a saying that justice delayed is justice denied. Actually, we look into the history of independence and freedom. It's difficult for a collective to gain independence or freedom by themselves. They always need other communities that will accompany them in this process. And Western Sahara, just like Palestine and others, these are cases that we can never see them as isolation because of the way they are interlinked to various dynamics that cut across cultures and society. Now, as I mentioned, in the early 90s, precisely 1991, out of the Baker ideals, there was the issue of the referendum that was supposed to take place, and almost everyone at that historic time thought that that was the best option so far to allow the Sahrawis people to inform the international community on where they stand. If actually, for example, Morocco continue to claim that Sahrawis are part of Morocco, then let's get to the ballot box and see what the outcome of the referendum will take place. It's not an issue that we must stress and stress. It's an issue of action. Now, while they were preparing these processes towards this referendum, then the Moroccan brought in this issue of the Sahrawi autonomy under the Moroccan um, um, hegemony, as I can say. In other words, the Moroccans want to grant independence or freedom to the Sahrawi people to a limited extent, but they are confined within the broader kingdom of Morocco. This is the argument that the MK party is putting forward, um, including talking on things such as peace and stability and prosperity for Africa. We all know that the entire Sahel is a zone that is already destabilized because of so many reasons. And the Sahara issue is one of the reasons why this area will continue to be in this chaotic situation. Because, like I always say, I will argue um, the Sahrawi, the unresolved question of Western Sahara is even part of the reason why you find the full invasion of Ukraine by Russia, because the global community has become complacent and we accompany each other on transactional basis. That is why we see this thing. So if you look at, for example, the Sahel, you look at the problem in Mali, with the Tuaregs and the Azawad. You look at the problem of Burkina Faso. You look at Niger. These countries have very similar issue. The issue there is one of a situation where not only that the societies are being destabilized, but that there is an agenda to want to break the countries in these regions into separate entities for different reasons.
Okay.
All of, yeah.
All right. We need to go for an ad break. We will come back in a minute or two to continue this discussion. And also, the all important question being the Sahrawi people, what is, their take on all of this? Clearly, when you look at all of Africa and all countries where we have disputes about land, ownership, identity, etc. It is really about independence and preserving their identities. So let's unpack that in a minute or two. And then also, what does Jacob Zuma's statement and visit to Morocco mean for the people, the Sahrawi people, and that region, the Sahel region in north of Africa? Please stay with us.
This is Salam Media.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal South Africa's Breakfast Club aims to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend their day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner for only 5 Rand a day, or 150 Rand a month. Or visit our website www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Gaza needs your support more than ever. Homes have been shattered and families have lost everything. With your support, our teams are delivering clean water tankers, feeding the hungry, and assisting orphans who have no one left. Let us give Gaza whatever help we can. African Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, buckies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa. Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Dr. Gallous. He's an independent researcher. We're talking about the MK Party, or Jacob Zuma's recognition of Morocco's claim over Western Sahara. Welcome back, Dr. Gallous, and would you like to continue with my questions that I put to you just before the ad break?
Yes, Julie, thanks for your question. Let me just make this brief comment. You see, the question of Western Sahara continues to expose the weakness of, the African Union in terms of how divisive or divided the organization has become. You know, not only that it exposes the African Union, but it exposes all other African countries that have not been able to recognize Western Sahara, which is a full member state of the African Union. Now, on the side of the MK party, like I mentioned, this is not surprising because politics today, it's all about transaction. It looks like politicians have actually completely drifted away from human politics of conscience. And then now we are actually at the era where politics is all about what we can get. Now,
Absolutely.
the issue with the MK party, it's not only on the Western Sahara, but it should be looked into the context of South Africa as a whole, as a political terrain. The MK party is in politics, and the MK party, without doubt, is an actor in South African politics. It's the only party that was able to transform the political scene. It is the party that brought the ruling government, the ANC, into the GNU. Because before the MK existed, South Africa had not experienced a GNU. So it's a party that one must not ignore. But the question that we maybe ask ourselves is, what is it? What is in for the MK party in such a declaration?
Exactly.
We must
Exactly.
understand that it is part of the maneuvers of the Moroccans who harvest resources from Western Sahara without accountability, use the money to influence politicians across Africa. So the Moroccans are always ready to do that. But is it a moral position for the MK party to do this? Now, this reminds me of Zambia. A few years ago, Zambia also made that same move where they severed diplomatic ties with Western Sahara and then took the same position of the Moroccans that the MK is propagating. And then when they had what they were supposed to gain from the Moroccans, they did a U-turn and then reversed that decisions and then brought back the Sahrawis.
Can I
So
just ask you this question? Can I come in here, Dr.
yes,
Gallous?
yes, please.
Obviously, the Sahrawi people of Western Sahara undoubtedly are wanting independence. Why is Morocco not giving them their independence? Is it once again the issue around colonialism, what the colonizers did way back in the day when they carved up Africa the way they did? There were no clear lines. They used the divide and rule policy. They still do that to gain whatever they are interested in, because if they have the divide and rule policies in place, African nations will continue fighting each other, and obviously, Western countries will be will gain whatever it is that they've set their eyes on. In this instance, as far as Africa is concerned, it is the natural resources of the country. So, where do we stand on that point? Number one, short answers, if you don't mind. And then coming back to Jacob Zuma, what do you believe he gains by this move of his supporting Morocco in their stance against the Sahrawi people's independence?
Julie, what I can say is just to answer the latter before going to the former. What I can say is that there is without doubt that the MK party gains something. It could be material or immaterial. Now, because we don't have documented evidence, we can't comment on whatever they gain. I don't know, but I know this is not a move that is without gains, without profit. Now, when we look into the issue of why Morocco is not letting the Sahrawis be free, it goes beyond the metrics of European and African colonialism. Because remember, not every country in Africa had a lot of mineral resources that one may argue that the European colonized this state because they were looking for mineral resources to keep their industrial complex moving forward. The issue here is that power metrics or dynamics was one of the reasons that these countries had territories as extension in the African continent. But in the case of the Western Sahara and Morocco, remember, Western Sahara is the only part of that area that is so resourceful. So one of the adamant reasons that the Moroccans are not able to let go is because resources from the Western Sahara form the backbone of the Moroccan survival, the survival of the Moroccan economy. Now, should in case the question is what deal can they both have in order for Morocco to let them go such that Morocco also does not collapse? Because if you look into Morocco, there is another argument that the departure of the Sahrawis towards independence may create precedent to other parts of Morocco because Morocco actually looks like a country that has very different collectives into one. So it may set precedent for the segmentation of other areas, which other scholars may argue. So, like I mentioned, the base of this not letting the Sahrawi go and all that they try to create, a form of sovereignty under Moroccan control is all about resources, which is what
Okay.
is transformed into the politics of the day.
All right. My final question then to you is, what about the rest of the Sahel region? You indicated earlier on I'm trying to understand the impact on the other countries in the Sahel region. That would be Mauritania, Chad, Niger, etc. What sort of impact will it have on them if Morocco allows the Sahrawi people their independence?
If Morocco allowed the Sahrawi people their independence, that area of the Sahel is going to be one of the most stable in Africa. Because remember, these countries in the Sahel, especially the countries that were taken over by the juntas, these are landlocked countries, and Morocco has offered them a pathway to the sea for them to
Ah,
do their export and import. And Algeria, which supports the Sahrawi cause, is part of the reason of the instability in this area. So if the Sahrawis are independent, Algeria will pull away from Morocco, not influencing the Tuaregs, which have a connection, a culture, a historical and cultural connection with Algeria. And then this region on its own will be stable because then they can use the waterways of the Western Sahara to do their trade, import, and export for the survival of these landlocked countries themselves. So that is the broader implication of all this.
okay,
Morocco,
and
yeah,
I
go
did
ahead.
say it was my final question. Let's just come back home to South Africa, the MK party, and Zuma. Clearly, we're not sure what Zuma is going to gain from this. Maybe to put him back into the political limelight, to spotlight his party. Do you think that might be a strategy and to gain more impetus within South Africa itself?
We can't tell at this time. It's very uncertain because we cannot, we still don't have data on the reaction on the people of even the MK party because there are a lot of folks who are in the MK party who are sympathizing with the Sahrawis. Remember, the MK party, these are just decent individuals from the African National Congress. So they still have certain opinion that may differ from the leadership of the MK party. So it's to look after a while to understand, in terms of behavioral pattern towards the leadership to see how this has created an impact. But notwithstanding, the one of the strategies to gain voters and voices is to create division within the political landscape, and is that which the AMK party is actually trying to do, because this question alone is creating and further creating more and more division. It could be a strategy, but it's not a wise strategy in my saying, because you know, this is not the time that we must give into populism or dishonest politics. Dishonest politics at this point must fade away. We must look into things that are real. Things that are real and truthful are the most appealing to people. They become so strong as ideology that you can't take the people away. So by doing all this, we just need a short while to be able to understand the complete impact or ramification on the people and on the political landscape. So it is going to create division more in the MK, not even in the ANC. It is instead going to give the ANC more credibility by reaffirming and reaffirming, because this particular issue is linked to some of the heroes of South African politics. They support this Sahrawi independence or Sahrawi freedom. That's why they granted Sahrawi diplomatic ties, because they understand
Okay.
the history. Yeah.
All right. I'm just wondering if Jacob Zuma hasn't really overshot his authority by almost taking on the role of a foreign, an ambassador, so to speak, here in South Africa, an ambassador, because he is now he's engaging with foreign governments, and that really is overstepping his mark, is it not?
It might not so much be, because political parties have shadow government, and political parties, let me make this clear. Every political party in South Africa is able to rule South Africa. It all depends on the choice of the people. So they may not have overstepped their bounds because they have their own shadow government. It is their responsibility to look into the party foreign policies. They already have those things at place. The issue here is the unintended consequences on such move. These are moves that you might make them because you believe, because I can assure you there will be resources that will come in support to the MK party, because the survival of party depends also on the quantity of resources or amount of resources they can access. No doubt this may be something that may come into play, but what then will be the unintended consequences? Now, one of the things we must understand that not only in South Africa but in Africa alone, politics is basically on the line of ethnic chauvinism, such that people don't use critical lenses to want to unpack, nuances in all these moves. They just follow because they have, some form of aesthetics that they can identify with their political leaders. So it's that issue that we will wait to see how
Oh,
this thing will transform not
okay.
only South African politics as a whole, but the MK party. Then we will be able to make further analysis as we move on. Because it's
Thank
not all
you.
about the decision and the choices, but it's all about the impact within a certain period of time.
And that's where we have to leave it. Thank you indeed for your insights on this matter. And like you started the interview by talking about transactional policies and transactional politics. And that seems to be exactly what's playing out here. We do value your input and your time this morning. Go well. And we will be following this story undoubtedly. Let's see how it moves forward. God bless. Thank you once again. It is 8:36 a.m. This is News and Views on Salam Media.